Hello there, welcome back to my channel. I'm IJ Gold. Well, if you haven't done that yet, please smash that sub button because so much we're coming on from this week onwards. Well, today I'm just going to do something very simple, and that is to answer some of the questions that I've gotten lately. Don't go away. See ya. Hello, learners. Welcome back. Of course, we are all learners because learning never ends. Life itself is a lesson, isn't it? He's a great, great teacher. Sometimes we don't necessarily have to experience something before we learn. We can learn from other people's experiences. So, I'll be responding to some of the questions, and the first one is I want to make a first, so how should I structure my essay? And you want to meet the right standard. First off, well done for choosing to succeed. Yes, right here in Florence Gold Institute, we start from excellence. So you already have the right spirit, which is really commendable. Well done. Good. So how do you structure your essay? Well, in the UK, there are three basic headings you should have, or parts of the essay, I would say. So you have your introduction, you have your main body, and your conclusion. In the introduction, you just want to tell us what it is you've been asked to do. So, for example, you were told to discuss the effect of laziness on students. So, in your introduction, you're telling us this essay focuses on the effects of laziness on students, and maybe if there's a theory you're going to cover, you could also mention that particular theory. Okay. When we look at essay structure in detail, I'm going to give some practical examples, so please do look out for that. In the main body, you're discussing what you've been asked to do. You talk about laziness and students and whatnot. Okay, and of course, there's in-text citations. Never forget, a good essay must have references, in-text citation. And finally, we've got the conclusion. Some of the mistakes I see, some students include new ideas and even in-text citation under the conclusion in the conclusion section. You shouldn't do that. Okay, that section is just for you to give a summary of the main points you've already discussed in the main body. Question 2. How can I make my work more critical? My feedback is this work is too descriptive. Brilliant. I've seen that a lot. I've had that feedback from my own tutors when I did my studies as well. And yes, I do give that kind of feedback to students. Critical writing is really, really important, especially within the UK educational system and anywhere else really, because it's about deep learning, not just regurgitating what you've been told already. And so that's why you have that a lot. I will also cover this topic, but very briefly, they want you to look beyond what you've been told and beyond what everyone else is saying. Okay, I'll give a practical example. Say you've read that students should come in and start reading or doing their assignments from the very first week, and maybe another scholar says, well, it's about the planning, they should plan more and then they can do the writing later on. Now, yes, both points may be quite valid. As a critical thinker, you'll be wondering, is there something else that has not been covered? What about the deadline? If they don't start early, what are the benefits of that? So he's basically looking at the benefits and the demerits as well. And perhaps that the elements that no one has actually covered or thought about within the literature. Okay. How do I know what my tutor wants for an assignment? This one is a very good question, because if you don't get the question, if you don't know what you're asked to do and you do something else, that is a route to failure. Okay, like 10 ways to fail a course. 1, do something else other than what you've been asked to do. So it's a good question. How do you know what they want you to do? Check your module handbook. Assignment briefs, they do have those briefs, so please do check them out and ask questions. Just ask a tutor. They're really helpful down here. So and there isn't this power distance. So for some of you who are coming from really coaches that have really high power distance, you may feel maybe a bit uncomfortable speaking to your tutor, as it were, but right here you're free to really ask questions as far as you're genuine about it and You can send emails just to clarify, and please attend lectures as well. That will give you a sense, because they often will talk about these things during the classes and seminars. Okay, so this one is how to gain admission for masters. That's a good question. Right, so it depends on the course you want to do. I would say go onto the website of the university and try to, there will always be this section that says requirements. That's where you should be looking. Okay. And if you do have, even if you don't have a particular requirement, you could email to find out if there are other options. So for someone who's got like maybe a uh, third class, or there are certain top-up courses you could do find out on the website of the university that you want to attend. For my master's dissertation, what topic would be the best? This is a very open-ended question. How do you choose the right topic? I would say your interest is important, but more than that, you want to do something that is feasible. Most master students have the time frame of 3 months, 4 months to finish their dissertation. So you don't want to do something that's overly massive. Even if you're doing a PhD, you still need to, have in each area. You need to focus on something. You can't do everything. So you want to think about this as well when you're looking at your research, and you want to also do something that will be meaningful. Like, ask yourself this question: so what? Why is my research question important? And we'll look at research in depth, and I can answer that question for you. I would say do something reasonable in general, but your supervisors will be there to guide you. So you want to take on their advice as well. Very important. Please do have those meetings, attend your meetings with your supervisors. Some topics you should not do is things that are really like market research. What I mean by that is like, so let me give you a typical example just to make it really clear. So maybe you found that people at the stadium love eating burgers or donuts. And then your research question is, why do people eat donuts close to the stadium? Well, okay, so they eat burgers. There's just a burger or donut shop. That's why. It's not really adding much, is it? So you want to think about it in terms of, maybe you want to solve a problem. You've noticed something, maybe a business. They have so many employees, high turnover rates. You want to find out why, or it could even be a theory, or you could do a systematic literature review as well. A structured literature review is really acceptable. So you want to also have these conversations and know what you can do. Some universities, especially after COVID, a number of universities, to my knowledge, are increasingly supporting the students with structured literature review for a dissertation. So something to think about as well. What are the requirements for a PhD? Yeah, this is a very, very good question. Again, your field will determine a lot of what the requirements will be, and maybe some universities may have certain criteria in comparison to others. If you're looking for a scholarship, most universities, as far as I'm aware, want students who already have a distinction from their master's program and probably did a dissertation and have a distinction in that dissertation, because they show off your research skills. But I would say you need to have a good proposal. You need to find out if there is a supervisor or a lecturer or professor in your field within that university. Okay, so normally if you're going for a master's program, you may be required to write a personal statement, upload your BSc or BA degree. But with a PhD, you need to write a proposal which comprises of, the focus of your research, your future research, what the methodology you intend to use is, and these kinds of details. So something to be aware of for that one. Okay, I will suggest you use websites like Find a PhD, jobs.ac.uk. They have good studentships or scholarships on there in case you're searching. We'll talk more about this in subsequent videos. Please help. My paper wasn't marked and I was told I will be called to a panel. What should I do? Now this one is, these are one of the questions that come up when there is actually an issue. So maybe we'll be taking a more reactive solution here. But the proactive solution, first off, is to have really understood the question, paraphrased properly, and written your work, doing it yourself, of course. Sometimes when you have these kinds of feedback, your marks were not given, or you were graded a 0 and you were told you'll be having a panel or any meeting, could be because of plagiarism or plagiarism issues, or it's possible that they've identified something else going on. They just want some clarity around. If you haven't given your paper out to someone else, maybe it's just because from your own country you were not too familiar with paraphrasing, you were used to regurgitating what you've been taught or just copying and pasting. That could just be the issue. And sometimes these meetings are actually to support you. It's not to crucify you per se. So do attend. Please just be honest. I did, maybe you were in a hurry and you didn't get time to really read through and paraphrase properly, whatever the issues where you could actually talk to them and they could help you, send you off to certain trainings or programs that'll be useful to you. Okay, so that's usually the issue, something with your work. That's why it's not being marked. I wouldn't say it's financial issues per se. If you haven't paid your fees, some universities may not give you access to the results anyway. So it will be more around what you have submitted. And if you find yourself having this issue, it could be that you need to improve on your paraphrasing skill. And you also perhaps need to start doing your assignment on time. If you haven't been attending lectures, that could also be an issue. But I would recommend that you attend. If you don't attend the meeting, they could make a decision, depending on your university anyway, they could make a decision on your behalf and you have to, of course, adhere to those rules or decisions, whatever it is. But I will say take up that opportunity to attend and be honest with them and they can support you. Please and please do not give your assignment out to someone else. I've had cases where two students doing the same module in the same university sent off their assignment to one particular ghostwriter who gave both of them the same piece of work, and that wasn't good. They spent a lot of money and still got picked up on. So you want to avoid that. Finally, what are the fun things about the UK? Well, depends on what you describe as fun. I don't know what my personality is. I think it's a blend. I wouldn't say I'm one particular type of person, as it were. I have fun by staying indoors sometimes, and oftentimes I also have fun going out with friends, visiting people and just loving on people and knowing they're doing good, and attending programs and outings and events and whatnot. So yeah, but I think there are some nice places you can visit if you like looking around. I love nature, so sometimes I go out and take a walk and what have you. And it's good for your overall well-being. You don't want to be stuck up and just reading. You want to have some time out and relax. I mean, 7 days of the week, you need one at least to just see what I mean. Okay, so these are the questions we're responding to today. If you've got more questions, please feel free to send me a DM at 9 yards of art on Instagram. And I will see you in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Smash that sub button. It's free. Okay, thank you all so much. Do send your questions and I'll upload more useful videos responding to some of these issues in more detail. All right, thank you again. Like the video if you like it. I'll see you in the comment section and you'll see me in my next video. For now, remember, we start from excellence. Thank you.